we're recording. Yay! I'm so excited to be here today talking to one of my favorite people in the whole wide world about all of the beautiful things that have happened in her love life. And I'm excited to be celebrating with her. I'm excited to get into like the stuff everybody wants to know about, like how did you manifest your soulmate? How did these things happen? And I know people always love to hear about kind of like the background. How did you do that? What did you go through? You know, what did you do when you felt discouraged? How did this person come into your life and all those kinds of things? So I'm just going to invite you to introduce yourself so we can get started because I'm so excited.
So I am Jazz, and how old am I? So I'm 38, and I am an intuitive healer. I work with crystals. They're my baby. And we started working together, Chris, I think it was February 2016.
I want to say 2016 was when we first started working together. Yeah. We've known each other for a long time now.
I like you're like a long lost sister that I was reunited with.
Seriously, that's how I have felt too. I'm like, you know what? Someday when I actually just get to be, it's so weird because like we met online and all of this, but we did this deep personal spiritual work together. And now it's like, I feel like I've already hugged you a bunch of times, but I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I have not actually hugged Jen.
I know. Like, oh my God, that's going to happen. We have already spoken it, so that day is going to happen.
That's going to happen. We're speaking it into existence right now.
Yes.
So initially we started working together because of some things that were going on with in energy that you were wanting to heal in your love life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about like how you felt then and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think I might have been a little different from your typical person because my struggle was not really in finding marriage-minded men per se. My struggle was in wanting to be with a marriage-minded man and getting out of my own way.
Mm.
And, that was hard because I typically was more of a tomboy. I kind of embodied, even though I'm girly, I still embodied more of a masculine energy. So I was really focused on being independent and doing my own thing and just all the crap that I was telling myself, like, who knows? And I really wanted to get out of my own way and not just attract in love, but allow it to do what it was supposed to do for me, right? To enjoy it and to let it resonate fully. And that was hard. That was scary. And I think I saw a post of yours. And I was like, ooh, she sounds interesting. Because I'm all about feels. Like if I read something and I'm like, I'm not calling that person, texting, emailing. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something so warm and inviting. And so I think I did a free webinar you had, and I don't remember the title, but I was just drawn to your personality. Like, okay, I'm feeling this. And then you have the challenge, and I did that, and I signed up. And let me sidetrack for a minute and say this. One of the reasons that I wanted to work with you had nothing to do with the relationship and the love stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so because you challenged me so far outside of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that for people. And I needed someone that I could trust and that I wanted to trust that could help me do that for myself. So, I signed up and literally it was like butt crazy because I was in the middle of so much. I didn't have the extra money. Like it was a complete leap of faith. But I knew that it was what I needed and I was willing to do whatever it took. And I just felt that peace that you were the person that I wanted on that part of my journey with me. And so we dove in like deep. We dove in deep. There were a lot of tears, a lot of screaming and venting, but one of the things that I absolutely loved about you was that you were so present and you listened and you heard me. And it makes me want to cry because I felt love, not for who I was or what I was doing for someone, but I felt the love that I give to. reflecting back through you. You were that channel. You know what I mean? And so we did the work, and it was funny because I ended up, through the processes of us working together, I think I dated like 2 different people. And both of them were like coming on really strong and just jumping in the deep end with me. And then I was halting, like, no, no, no. And you were like, oh my God, Jess, what are you doing? But you were strong enough to call me on my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't let me just keep paddling and being blind and crazy. You called me on it and like, listen, you didn't pay me all this money and do all of this work with me to keep up your same bullshit. Like, what are you doing? And finally, about a year after we worked together, I met my now husband. And it was so funny because shortly after we started working together and I was doing some of the meditations, I had this divine download that I was going to be introduced to my husband. Because I had a serious talk with my angels, and I was like, listen, y'all, I'm not feeling this online dating thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who I am. You know my personality. Tell me how this is going to happen, because it's going to have to happen in a way that I'm ready for it. And they were like, okay, shit. You know?
And in a way I can recognize.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it said, you'll be introduced to him. You'll both be introduced to each other. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And I remember telling somebody about it, like, I'm going to be introduced to my husband. And so for that year, 2016, the 2 people I dated, she was like, well, what about them? Because you weren't introduced to them. And I'm like, no, they were necessary to help me keep traveling, but no. And I stood my ground because I had Carissa in my ear, like, no, hell no. You don't let your people settle, and I'm not going to let you settle. Like, stand your ground. And it's exactly what was spoken to me. I was introduced to him. And funnily enough, the person that introduced us didn't know him, they knew me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was somebody personal to me, but he ended up on her job, and my angels, I guess, kind of nudged her, like, talk to him. And so it came up in conversation, and she was like, are you married? And he's like, no, I think I know somebody for you.
I love that, because so many times, like, women are told, like, this is how you make it happen. Get online, and then it's like Match.com didn't work, so try eHarmony. eHarmony didn't work, so try, whatever else. Try these different things. And it's so not about, those are all just tools. It's like the universe is so unlimited in the ways that the person can come into your life. And so I love that you were just like, yeah, I'm not feeling this. I'm going to talk to my angel committee real quick and just let them know this is not. And I also love, as you're a healer, and I think some of the things that happen with healers, one of the big things that happens is you give so much to others. And so you need that to receive that. You want to receive as much as you give, but a lot of times there's not that other person there to do that for you.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too is that sometimes, like, we all have blind spots, and there always needs to be somebody, that you can trust to be like, hey, this is something that maybe you're not seeing. And that's true for all of us. Like, that's true for me. That's true for everybody, So I love that you said that, because I think it's such a thing of healers. It's like, when we have something we're trying to create in our lives, we're doing all these things for other people, and then we're trying to create something in our lives, and we're like, who's there for me? Who's got my back? Who's, so it's like,
we had that moment during a session, you and I, like, I clearly remember this day, clearly. And it was a day that I was honestly just depleted. Like, I had fumes left.
mm-hmm.
Like, I remember reaching out to you. I don't even think we had anything scheduled. Mm-hmm. And I think I inboxed you or texted you or something, like, oh my. And you jumped on and was like, I got this time slot open. Can you make this work? And I'm like, hell yeah. Mm-hmm. And we got on the phone, and I just cried my heart out, because I was literally in the middle of, I don't know what I was doing that day. I think I was launching my book or something. And I was like balls to the walls. And then I had friends pulling on me and personal stuff happening. And it was just like I was crashing, because it's exactly that. When you're the healer in your circle, even if you have other healers in your circle, if you are the one that they trust, you become the mama, the nurturer.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have to go outside of your family circle or your personal circle with the people that you grew up or went to school or whatever. And you have to find other people to become friends with,
Mm-hmm.
who are either on your level or maybe above you, or maybe do something completely different, but they're still a healer in some capacity, and they can hold space for you. And like at that point in my life, I had no one holding space for me, and I was holding space for everyone else.
Everybody, yeah.
I remember that day just like, Carissa, shit, I got nothing. And you dove in the deep end with me, and that to me cemented things, as far as my respect for you as a healer, my love for you as a healer, as a coach, the friendship that we started to develop, because I saw me and you. I saw my twin, my soulmate in another person, because I think we have many soulmates, right?
Right.
So I saw my soulmate in another coach, and it was like that divine
You're
moment.
like, oh, she's gonna give to me like I give to everybody else.
Yeah.
Finally.
And that in my love journey, like,
Yeah.
because I had trained everyone, as we sometimes do as women and healers. I had trained everyone to not have to worry about me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like that little leaf blowing in the wind, like, somebody please save me. And you dove in the deep end and was like, I got it. And that was pivotal to me in my love journey. And it's so funny, because at the same exact time, I started dating the guy who I met before my husband. And he was pivotal. And it was like, between the two of you, you prepared me. And when I say that to people, they're like, what the fuck? How did an ex-boyfriend prepare you? And I'm like, but you get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was like, between the two of you,
Yeah.
Spirit was ever present, saying, listen, the same thing that you help other people get, and the same thing that you give to other people, you are worthy. And you are that constant reminder for me in my ear, saying, you are worthy, and you can have this, and don't stop until you have your heart's desires. You don't have to settle. And compromise is good, but you don't have to compromise into sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so needed for me, because I had trained myself that I didn't have the time to take care of myself. I had to take care of everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love you for that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that you embody something that a lot of coaches, and unfortunately a lot of healers, don't get. They don't get that healing is not forcing the person, but healing is loving the person. And healing is not bullying the person, but healing is just offering the guidance and allowing it to resonate as it has to. And you gave me space to be crazy and weird and take shrooms, but you always called me on my stuff to make sure that I got back on track.
Oh my gosh, Jazz, I'm so honored. Like I'm seriously just like, okay, don't cry, don't cry. You gotta ask questions. People want to know how she manifested her soulmate. like, like you just okay, don't cry.
Yeah.
But that
Oh,
was
and this
beautiful. And
this
I'm
too.
so honored. Thank you so much.
This too. Because when I met him, I didn't share him with everybody, because I'm an introvert. I like my business. I like my friends. But I also didn't share him with everyone, because they know my track record.
Mm-hmm.
And they know, okay, well, Jazz will date somebody and then be like, so,
Deuces.
right. So I wanted to enjoy him
Mm-hmm.
out the judgment,
Yeah.
but I shared him with.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, you guys, I think Carissa was more excited than I was. And to me, that is the hallmark. I mean, people blow smoke up your butt all day long, but to me, that is one of the hallmarks of a genuine coach, a genuine healer, a genuine person. Can you celebrate my craziness with me when I get through the craziness and get to the good thing? Can you celebrate the rainbow with me? And you did. I mean, you were checking in on me like, Jazz, What are you doing? Like, are you being crazy? What's happening? And you helped me keep that momentum to allow him to come into my space and not push him away, and to allow him to be that man and be that protector and set that pace without me being like, well, wait a minute. You know what I mean?
But yeah, like as you were becoming more comfortable with receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like as you were being more comfortable with like allowing someone to take care of you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's like such a critical time of like, can I actually let my guard down here?
Yeah.
Can I trust this man to have my back?
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing it myself for a long time. And then even when you want to, it's like, I want to, but I don't know if I can. I've been in the habit for so long of just having it be just me. It's like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I can. And that's a tricky place to be in. And I'm so grateful and so honored to have got to walk that with you and get to celebrate with you now and seeing your wedding pictures and oh my gosh, and get to see the first picture where I could actually see his face. I was like, yay!
Saw his face before even like a lot of people around me saw his face, because they were like, well, what does he look like? And I'm like, not
You're like, no, 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 that's for
right
me.
now.
That's just for me. Yeah, I love that.
And
Well,
it was
you know, I am.
a safe space.
What,
It was,
honey?
I said, it was really good to have that safe space to share what I wanted when I wanted, without judgment, without being overwhelmed by opinion, but
Yeah,
just safe space.
yeah, and it's fragile at the beginning. It's fragile, and it's like you want to. It, it's almost like you want to talk about it, but so many people around you are sort of invested in you staying the same and staying the jazz that they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And in certain ways, they not meaning to, but unconsciously, they can kind of judge you or think, well, at least, you know, I might be in an unhappy marriage, but at least I'm not single like her.
Right.
You know, I might have settled, but at least I'm not single like her. So many times that can happen. Or even with your single friends where they'll be like, and it's unconscious, they're not trying to do this to you, but this is like weirdness about sometimes how people think. Even with single friends, sometimes they can be like, well, if you go on to be happy with a partner, you're going to leave me by myself. You're going to leave me here. And they get weird when things start to get serious between you and somebody else. Or even
Mm-hmm.
recently, I had a situation with someone I was talking to where she met someone new who was wonderful, and he used to date a friend of hers, but he didn't want it to go. He didn't want anything really to come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So this friend of hers was the one who introduces them. But then
Ah.
as soon as they hit it off, now all of a sudden she's needing to be sort of in the middle of that in some way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so people do these weird things, and it's like you got to have a safe space so that you can protect something fragile
Yeah.
and let it reach its potential, whatever that's going to be.
Yeah.
Whatever that's going to be.
You gave me that because, and that's why I highlighted at the beginning that I may not have been in the same category as a lot of your people. Whereas I never struggled to meet the guy and have the provider type. And my struggle was me. Like, I couldn't get out of my own way to save my life, right? And and I think that that's what I loved about you most, is you're multidimensional. You meet a lot of people that they can only stay in this lane and help because that's their only skill set. But you knew how to meet me where I was and not judge me, not be biased, but to simply meet me where I was and say, okay, now here's how I can help you with this thing. And you formulate it, because I hate cookie cutter. Like, oh my God, that's the bane of,
Because
but
cookie
you,
cutter does not work for everybody.
right? And you formulated it for me, and you saw me, you saw my heart, and you formulated it for me in such a way that I could take it in and use it. And I also think the hallmark of a beautiful healer is you set the person up to succeed. You give them the skill set, Because if you fish for a person, they're going to eat that one time. But if you teach them to fish, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
You worked with me in such a way that I took on new skill sets as a healer from the things that I learned with you. So it elevated me on so many levels, not just to be a girlfriend or a wife, but as a woman, as a person. And that was beautiful.
This is so beautiful, Jazz. And I have to tell you, I'm like overcome right now just with like joy and gratitude. But I really have to say that, um, as you know, like a healer can hold your hand, but you're the one who's actually doing it. Like you're the one who's actually doing the work. And you did so much. You in leaps and bounds, and you were always like, yes, okay, let's do this. And I think part of that is from having that healer, it being a healer. And another part of that is from your own resilience, from things that you have overcome in your life and situations that you have been through and come out the other side. You know, we talked about that a little bit, about that Alice Walker quote of like, she's been through the fire and she's come out whole and shining. And that is you. I mean, that's like you in a nutshell, love. And seeing what you did, seeing you manifest your soulmate. Like I see my role in your life and in the lives of my clients as my role, my job is, one, to eventually make myself totally unnecessary. You know, number one, that's the goal we work toward. But two, it's to get everything, the obstacles to your beauty and your brilliance and your richness, to you understanding it and really valuing it and knowing that it's there, to help remove those things. Because when those things are gone, you're magnetic. Like you're already naturally magnetic. But so many things can come in that are like limitations, limiting beliefs, pain from the past, pain from an ex, trauma from a certain way that you might have grown up, limiting beliefs about what you think is possible in love, about what you think is possible for you in love, about even things like there's nobody around here where I live, you know, or I've got to lose a bunch of weight, or like all of these kind of common weird beliefs that are not true, but that kind of get in the way. So I see it like we remove those obstacles for you, those thoughts. And I think that's where that's what I think of as the blind spots, because I think there's another thing that we do as healers, and I know I do it too, you know, where I'm functioning in a certain way and not realizing, oh, I'm doing that because I believe this. Right. You know what I mean? So to be able to help people clear that out, you know, like that's what you did, is that you just took off. You know what I mean? Like you were rolling, and then it was just like, okay, I just you know, need to be here if she needs me. And if she needs to tag me in, you know, and be like, okay, Jazz, tag me in, you know, if you need me, you know.
But you know, I feel like I embodied the full message of what you teach. Ironically, the full message of what I teach, that healing is easy. Sometimes the shifts can feel hard and challenging, and the mindset work can feel challenging and hard. But healing is actually when you just get into that space and let spirit work for you, right? Because one of the things that, you know, people ask me, well, how long were you dating before you got engaged? And I say, well, he proposed on our 6 weeks. He proposed 6 weeks from the day of our first date. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. And I'm like, I wasn't getting in my own way.
As soon as the other stuff was out of the way, it was like easy. It was so easy. It just came to you. And that, I think that that's a really important thing to understand, is that like when you have support and when those things are cleared out, it's like driving without the parking brake on now.
Exactly.
You know, it can be so easy. And so for you, what do you feel like, you know, people ask about like, okay, manifesting a soulmate, like how'd she do it, right? And I know that I have my 5-part formula that I always use, which is like, you know, first we work on the healing. So we do the energy work, and we do the work of releasing from the a past ex or whatever the healing is that we need to do for childhood. So we get down into the deep things in spirit and subconscious that need to be healed, good stuff that has to come in, or stuff that's hurting you that needs to come out. And then we go into clarity about like, what do you really, really want? And we create the love list and we do those things. And then after that, it's about like your mental movie and your visualization and feeling it so you can have the emotions come up. And then after that, it's about like the soul call or the ritual or whatever that we do to mark like this is the end of that time. And now, and we're grateful for the lessons. And now we look forward to the future. And then it's about releasing with gratitude, like already knowing that this person is coming in. Yeah. What do you feel like was the most important thing for you out of those things? Like what practice do you feel like really resonated the most with you of those things?
I'm going to say the mental movie, because I liked being single. Like I kind of was probably like a black girl of Sex in the City. Like, I wasn't afraid to be single. I liked going out with my girlfriends. I enjoyed my house. I was good without anybody else being in that space. Let's go out, let's hang out, love you, go home. Because that's that strong introvert in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the independent person and like that, and which is nothing. There's nothing in the world wrong with that. It's just that sometimes it makes it hard to trust somebody or let somebody else in.
And the mental movie, it was fun. It was fun. It was easy. And I love imagining and daydreaming and like playing like a little kid. So that was the fun part for me, to just lose myself and kind of making myself, but at the same time allowing myself to imagine, what does it feel like to have this person in my space every day? What does it feel like to come home to them, to wake up to them, and immerse myself in this time span of life with them? And so doing that on a regular basis made it easier for me to shift from I'm not losing anything, going from single to full commitment, I'm gaining. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be overwhelming or scary. And it can happen in such a way that it feels good and it feels easy. And so a lot of the things that I would imagine literally are how he and I ended up kind of playing things out. And, because he was the one like, well, we need to talk about moving in and we need to talk about bills and like all the important conversations. He was always the one bringing them to the table and creating the conversation, which allowed me to kind of, again, relax more and let somebody else take the lead. And that was one of the main things that I had imagined in my mental movies. What does it feel like to let somebody take this lead?
Yeah. And to have them initiate, to have them like reach out to you and go, hey, we're taking this deeper. Let's have the practical conversations about how we go deeper. And I want to have have a life with you. So let's talk about what that looks like. And usually a lot of times it's like, I work with a lot of women who have had experiences in the past where they're always the ones trying to gauge whether the other person is serious about them or where the relationship is going. And they're the ones that are bringing up the questions like, so where do you see this going? And, they're always the ones that are asking, like, are we going to take this to the next level? And so I love when I get the chance to work with someone and they're having, and they, as a result of the work that they've done and going deeper and doing things like this mental movie, that they have this situation happen where he's approaching you and going, let's talk about moving in together. Let's talk about, what bills do you have that we need to make sure I get taken care of for you, or that we take care of together, or, like, I love that.
In my ear, because, normally when that conversation would come up, I'd be like, oh, okay. And I was, and I'd be like, I'm running the other way. But I could hear you in my ear always reminding me like, Jazz, this is a good thing, Jazz. This is a good thing. Yeah. And reminding myself, just breathe. Don't have to fear, because I had so much fear around losing control.
Yeah.
And I just would hear you like right here, like this little angel on my shoulder, Jazz. And I'm like, okay, damn it. And he would start the conversation and we'd talk. And there were times I had resistance and he'd be like, look, dude. But I was able to receive him in a much more loving capacity
Yeah.
because he did so much work on receiving.
Yeah.
That when he would get in my face and be like, dude, you're making this hard. Like, stop. I could hear him and I could hear his heart and be like, okay.
Yeah, because that's such a tricky thing, is like to get used to receiving and to get used to having someone else in your space and all those things, and not running the other way. And it's self-sabotage is such a powerful thing and such a subtle kind of insidious thing, where it's like the thing you asked for is here, but now, and it feels good, but it doesn't feel familiar.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then it's like, okay, so now what do I do from this space? And usually what we do is we do weird things to try to restore the equilibrium. We try to restore the status quo. And that just keeps us in the same space of like, and sometimes you don't figure out that that's going on until it happens a lot of times to you, or until someone points it out or something like that. And so, yeah, that's a tricky thing. It's a really tricky thing.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy for you, and I am so proud of you. You have done such big work. You have done such big work for yourself. You are such a beautiful, amazing, powerful, incredible, strong woman. And this everything that you've done, everything that is in your life that you've manifested, it's been in there this whole time. It's been in there. And thank you so much for the honor of getting to walk with you while you created this in your life. And your trust is something that I value so much. I am so honored, just beyond honored, that you would choose me to help you with creating what you wanted to create and what's been there this whole time for you. So thank you so much. And also for your generosity in wanting to share about that. I really, really appreciate that. And in your generosity and talking about your journey and sharing what has happened with you, because, it's like, so often, a lot of times what women say over and over again, I hear this, is they say the hardest thing for me was to make the decision to like pay to work with you. Because I was like, where is this money going to come from? They're like, the minute that I paid, I felt better. They're like,
I'm not challenging because like I don't have that much. Oh my God. No more excuses. This is what I need and I'm going to do what it takes.
Yeah.
And it was a tough decision, but it was worth it. And I still feel like it was worth it. And one more thing I gotta add.
Okay.
So my dad passed last February, which again was like right about a year after I had started working with you. And it was this crazy thing. My dad passed. I met him the following week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I remember in January, and I don't even know if I ever said this to you, but I remember in January of last year, I had this real conversation with someone close to me. And I was telling her, like, dude, I don't know if I want to get married. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, seriously? But I was being honest of what I was discovering within myself, because I had done the work and I was okay with marriage. I had dealt with the fear of marriage. I didn't know if I wanted to be compromising and like putting somebody else's feelings first and like doing it, because those things are pivotal to making marriage work.
Sure.
And I was honest enough to be like, I get it. I just don't know if I want to do that right now because I'm kind of liking where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, carrying on. And so my dad died and I had this moment. I literally stood in my bedroom like minutes before I got in my car to drive to see him. And I literally just broke down. And I said, now I get it. Now I get why I need this person. Because I'm strong enough to handle this. I can take this on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take it on by myself.
Yeah.
And it was this full on, oh my God, a reflection of all the conversations that we had about receiving and allowing yourself to be supported and allowing yourself to be loved, not having to tackle it all by yourself and be so independent and just crazy sometimes. That was crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I literally said, okay, God, I get it. And now I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I met him literally 7 days later. But it was the culmination of all the work that you and I had done together that had prepared me. And who knew a year before, but it had literally prepared me for my dad dying. Because I was in a place where I could handle it and not, it wouldn't have broken me, but I would have retreated and went back into that cold, disconnected place. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, because that's the thing. You could have done it by yourself, but you don't want to. It's like, that's the whole thing about so many of the women that I work with are in that space. They're like, I could do my life by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are like, financially, no problem. I
Mm-hmm.
have a group of wonderful women friends, girlfriends. We could travel together. I've worked with women that are like, I want to have a baby, even if I don't have a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And they can do it. Like, they've got the resources, they've got to do it. Great. Right. All the way from to women who are like single parents that are kind of struggling, and all those, like, everybody in between. And it's like, I can do it. And I'm like, of course you can do it, love. Of course you can do it.
Yeah.
Of course you can do it. But
But
you
I
don't
don't.
have to. You don't have to. You
And
don't
so
have
that's my answer of why you're worth every penny, because you affected me on so many levels. Because yes, I'm the one that did the work, but you were often the catalyst that allowed me to hear myself, that allowed me to see myself and to be that mirror. And you were the catalyst to be that safe space and that listening ear when I just needed to rage sometimes. And when I had momentous moments, I could share it with you, because not only were you my coach at the moment, but you are a healer. So you got it from a different perspective that not everyone else around me would get. You got it from my perspective, because it does affect the healer differently.
Mm-hmm.
Just does, you know? And so it was worth it, every penny. And that's my final answer, I guess, for that question. If somebody is asking, well, this is a lot of money, or whatever they phrase it as, it's worth it because it's not just about your love life. For me, love is the foundation of everything that you want to do when it concerns love. Love
Absolutely.
is everything, right? So it's not just about the love life and the God, but it's so much more about the metamorphosis that happens within you that prepares you on so many levels beyond just meeting the guy and, dating and getting married or whatever. You got to survive after the wedding day. You know what I'm saying? And and you're able to do that because of the metamorphosis that happens within as that love filters and elevates and heals.
Yeah, it's like a journey of radical self-love. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so universally transforming, like, of every part of your life, that it's like your life doesn't even look the same after.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly.
really, yeah. Well,
Exactly.
thank you so much for talking with me, Jazz. Thank you so much. And I am so beyond excited. Seeing your wedding pictures was like, yeah, you should. I was happy dancing. I was just like, this is so, thank you, thank you, thank you. God, I'm so happy for Jazz. She deserves it. I'm so happy to see her happiness. It was like, we were dancing over here. We were just like celebrating, and I'm still celebrating. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so happy for you. And I'm so grateful to you for sharing what your journey was like and what it was like for you. And uh, just please keep me posted about what's going on. I know you will, because we're connected everywhere. Like, I think we probably check in almost every day. So I know we'll know what's going on, but just thank you so much for being so generous and sharing about what your experience has been. And I know that everybody, I can't imagine anybody watching this and not being excited for you and for what's coming for you and for what you've created in your life. So I'm just sending you so much love, and I'm so happy and so excited for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything.